Alright, hey guys, thanks for coming back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another video, but I want to update you on this knife. So, for some reason I cannot drill holes in this steel. For some reason it's taking me forever. I only got one in, and I see you've tried multiple times there. And this, as you saw in the last video, it was heat treated. So it has been normalized like 5 times at least, and I cannot get it soft enough to drill any holes in. So we're going to be taking a break. I'm still going to be trying to figure out how to get it soft again. But for now, I've got this knife here, which I wasn't really going to make a video on, but because this knife, I haven't been able to get this one finished and it's giving me problems, we'll be doing a video on this one. I've already actually had this forged out and rough profiled, so it's got most of the different contours and stuff like that. So we'll just be finishing off this, doing some bevel grinding probably, and maybe some other stuff. So thanks for coming back, and stay tuned for the rest of the build. Alright guys, so we're back at the desk, and I'm just going to mark out the thickness of the edge. So I'm just going to take some Sharpie here and cover up this whole edge. Go in. There. Now let's get my calipers here and take the measurements. Got about 184. Alright guys, I've got this old 80-grit belt out here, and we'll just get right in, start at a very deep angle right there, and get it in down to the line, and then we'll start working our way up. Alright guys, so I've finished grinding the bevels, and they're looking pretty good. I got to 120 grit, put in the, cleaned up this cut here, just cleaned everything up, cleaned up the tang a little bit. I got it pretty straight, so you can see that there. So it's ready for hand sanding. I'm gonna take it to 120 before, or 220 before I do the normalizing cycles and the heat treat, and then we'll keep on going from there. So I'm going to get set up for a time lapse, and we'll just get going with this. Alright guys, so I finished the hand sanding on this up to 200 grit, and I've just gotten all the scratches out, so it'll be much easier after I've heat treated it and tempered it. I've always just found it easier that way because it just takes so long after it's heat treated and so much harder. So it's hand sanded now, and now I've got the forge heating up. Down here, and we're just gonna heat it up slowly, try to get it the most even temperature we can on the blade, then we'll quench it in some oil, and then we'll temper it down, and then we'll get back to the hand sanding and finish that up. Alright, so I'm just gonna put it in here and let it slowly rise up to heat. I'm making sure not to put it directly under the flame, so it's not getting an uneven heat right there in the center where it's getting where the flame's hitting it. I'm just putting it on the slot on the side so it can slowly, evenly heat up with the forge. As it's heating up, I'm just going to slowly take it back and forth to get an even temperature out of it. And I've turned the forge down just a little bit, so it's not at full temperature, but it's more of an oxidizing flame. And it will be better for slowly and evenly heating the blade up. Alright, so it's almost at heat, and I've got my magnet here, so I can just take it out until when it's gone past magnetic, and then I'll be able to tell when it's just about ready to be done. Alright, it's almost there. Just a little bit on this back end. Alrighty. It's looking not too bad. It's got a tiny bit of warp. Just take out this. Alright, so got this vise here so it just cools down. It'll cool down straight, and I'll come get you back on here when I've got it all fixed up. Alright guys, so back in here, and I've got a file. Let's see how it sounds like. It's pretty good. Let's see. Here's a. Let's see what kind of this one. This one is an unhardened just piece of mild steel here. So what that sounds like. I think got a little bit higher pitch there. I don't know if you can hear that, but so I think it's definitely hard enough. And next, we're just going to clean up the bevels here, and then we'll take it out and draw back the temper. So we'll clean up this, make sure it's bright and shiny so we can see the temper colors plainly, and then we'll go out and do the tempering. Alright guys, got it back out here locked in this vise, and I'm just going to slowly heat up the spine until it gets a nice golden brown color here near the edge. And we'll just do it on both sides until we get the right color we need. Alright, I'm just going to put you on a time lapse for this because it's probably going to take a little while. Alright guys, so I've filed down this here so it's nice and even. And I've also taken the blade up to 500 grit, which will probably be about where I'll stop for this knife. So it's getting pretty good. I've done the spine to 500 grit as well. So now I'll probably get just draw this out on some paper and take off the excess of the tang here, and then I'll just design a handle I need for it. Alright guys, so I've finished sanding this up to about 500 grit now, and then I've sketched out what I want to finish this out to be. So the next thing I'm going to do is start working on this guard. So I'm going to probably start with a pretty big chunk of steel here, and we'll just thin it down to what we need. and we've got about 1/2 inch wide, and overall the length is going to be about 3.5 inches. So it's 3.5 inches long and about 1/2 inch wide. And then we'll just start thinning out these here guard lugs, and we'll just get going from there. Alright guys, so I've just cut out this little chunk here, and I'm going to upset it this way so it'll be thicker right down here in the middle, and then we can start forging the guard out of that. Alright guys, so pull it out here. Alright, I'm just going to hammer from the top down. And straighten it back up again. Alright guys, so I'm going to start taking out the ends of the guard here. I'm just going to take on the edge of the anvil. Just start taking it down. Alright guys, so here's the guard after forging, and I've just kind of used a Sharpie and drawn out a little bit of what I need, because these are way too long here. Just needs to come out a little bit more. We'll have to do a little bit more forging after grinding to get it tuned in, but then it should be just about where we need it. So right now I'm just going to grind down in here and get these swoops all cleared out and nice and clean, and we'll just keep going from there. Alright guys, so right here, let's see if we can focus. Well, I've got the guard and I've just taken off a little bit of extra stuff that we don't need. And then right now I'm going to put it back in the forge that I've got heating up, and then we'll thin down the guard lugs there and get them to the right length and get them curved, and then clean them up on the grinder again. Alright guys, so here I've just rough ground the guard out after forging and getting the all the lugs to the right size and the right curvature. So I think we're just about ready to go in. I'm gonna do a center mark down here in the middle, and we'll drill out the center so we can start fitting it up. And after we're done fitting it up, we can start getting the good finish on the rest of the guard. So the next thing is we're going to go into the workbench and put a center line down there so we can start drilling out those holes. Alright guys, so right here I've just taken a Sharpie and covered up the front here, and now I'm just going to take the measurement from here, get the center, 512 thousandths, so it's going to be 250. guys, so right now I've got the guard pretty much perfectly profiled into the shape that I drawn here. In my structure. See if you can see this. Okay. We've got it pretty much perfect. And it's looking about right for the size of this knife as well. So, just about there. We'll just have a few tweaks with the file, especially on this side here. We've got to take some material off from the bottom. And then we'll get onto the handle. But that's going to be it for today's episode. So, here we go. We just finished up this guard. Hope you come back next time and see part 2. As I said, we're still working on the part 2 of the skinning knife, having some troubles drilling holes and stuff, with it being very hard. So I'm going to continue working on that and try figuring it out, and then we'll finish up that series and continue on with this series. So hope you like this video, and like and subscribe if you like this content.